Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of our Velocity Sellers podcast. I'm your host, Velocity Pete, and today I am joined by Amy Weiss, the founder and CEO of Amazing At Home Amazon Consulting. Amy has been in this business for a while, so she knows a lot of information, and I'm excited to kind of pick her brain today about a variety of different topics, ranging from how to get started with a new product on Amazon, and also about the newest growing e-commerce platform, possibly doing TikTok Shop. So, Amy, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about these, again, variety of topics here.
Thank you, Pete, for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on. So first things first, I do want to give you a chance to introduce yourself to the audience, kind of give them an idea of who they're listening to. So you want to give us a little bit about the background, a little bit about how you founded Amazing At Home, and kind of a little bit more about what you guys do.
Sure. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Amy Weiss, and I started selling on Amazon in 2007. While I was in the United States Air Force, I served in the military for almost 20 years. And I was selling textbooks. I was going to college at the same time and selling my textbooks on Amazon. I saw that little magic button that said sell yours here. And that's how I kind of learned about selling on Amazon. Started that as a hobby back then. And then in 2017, I invented a product. And I found that process, even though I'm an MBA and, I'm a pretty educated woman, I found that process of inventing a product from scratch to be totally different. And there wasn't really a clear path for people. And so I decided to make one. I contacted all these crazy design firms and stuff, and they wanted so much money to turn my drawing into another drawing. And I just wanted to pull my hair out.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, you know what? I was an instructor in the military. I know how to take really complex things and break them down into easy to understand steps. So I said, I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to share with others, because I know there's millions of other people out there with ideas just like mine that want to bring them to market but just feel stuck. And that's how Amazing at Home e-commerce consulting was born. Is I just started to share whatever I learned. Hey, I learned this today. Hey, I built a 3D printer today. Hey, I did this. Yeah, I called this manufacturer, and people started to follow me. And before I knew it, people started asking to consult with me. And I said, wait a minute, I still have a full-time job. I don't do consulting. You're crazy. I'm still trying to launch my business over here. Finally, people kept asking. I said, all right, cool. Give me some money. I'll meet you on a Zoom call, whatever, and let's do this thing. So those people had crazy, great success. And here we are today. So many years later, 2018, officially Amazing at Home was born. And we've now helped thousands of entrepreneurs not only develop their own products, but grow their businesses on Amazon, now TikTok, Walmart, and even in brick and mortar retail stores.
Love it. Well, first thing, thank you for your service. That's very, very impressive that you were able to translate a lot of those skills to this business side of things. And I'm curious to ask you more about that. I'm excited to get into kind of the process and really how you help people get started with a new product, and really just the overall experience you can provide to some of these new inventors and new people on Amazon. So first, I guess that's really the question is, I come to you with a new invention, right? I invented something to, I had to make one up for one of my business schools as well, one of my college courses. And it was something to put on your fridge to keep track of what's in there, and something you can connect to your smartphone. That way, when you're at the store, you can say, oh, do I need eggs? Do I need milk? And you can check the fridge and say, oh, the fridge app says I need this. So I come to you with some sort of invention that you can, like a magnet, you can stick onto your fridge. You can sell it on Amazon. What are the steps here? So how do you help me get this off the ground and into people's homes?
Well, the first thing that we do is we would look at how complex is this product, right? We want to understand your manufacturing process, because a lot of people have ideas, but the first thing you want to do, and by the way, we don't only work with inventors, we work with anyone who even has a normal business, a normal product. Even if you're selling a commodity product, the point is, in order to convert sales, you have to convey why your product is better or different than your competition. So even if you're selling the same fridge magnet as everybody else, you simply have to do a better job of either connecting with that customer, having a more legitimate looking brand, a better listing, whatever it is. But you have to do a better job of getting in front of that audience and connecting with them and having them add to cart. And that doesn't change if you're inventing a product. If you're inventing a product from scratch, that's fine. We're going to validate that there's a need for that product. A lot of people come up with cool ideas, and they ask their mom, mom, is this
Yeah.
cool? Mom loves you. She's always going to tell you it's cool. But the bottom line is it might not be the best product for the market. And you always have competition. You always do. Like, I invented a litter box cleaner, and that's the first of its kind. Nobody else has invented a cleaner for litter boxes. Most people don't even understand it. They go, so wait, it's a litter box? And it's like, no, it's a cleaner for litter boxes. So I started a whole new category. That's crazy, right? But I still have competition. I could say, well, I don't have competition because this is different. This is new. No, I have competition. There's litter boxes that are supposedly self-cleaning. There's scoops you can do it yourself, and then you've got you go, and if you watch Shark Tank, I'm a big fan. You guys see that one of the inventions that was my favorite that the sharks kind of picked apart was the camera blocker, right? The webcam blocker, where the guy comes in, he's like, oh, this is a problem. People are hacking webcams. So now I've got this fancy cover that you cover up your webcam. And Robert Herjavec was like, I just use a piece of tape.
Yeah. That's what I have on right now. So
So that's step one, Pete, is like, we're going to look at your invention. We're going to go, all right, and or your differentiation of your product or your product idea, whatever it is, and we're gonna go, okay, why will people buy this and not an alternative in the marketplace?
I like it. Yeah, I mean, that's like you said, it's a good question. It's a good. I like the analogy of the mom question. It's a question your mom wouldn't ask, that needs to be asked, but that she won't probably ask you. She'll just tell you it's great. So yeah, no, I love it. I love, obviously being in the Amazon business, we do a lot of account audits on our end, and we have turned down people that we said, listen, we can't help you. Your product is too niche. Like, kind of like you said, like, people aren't searching for it, or there's not enough margin in there for you, all that kind of stuff. So I totally get the vetting process of identifying, can this product is this really a viable thing to sell on Amazon?
Yeah. And I think the second thing is you need to look at what's called an MVP, right? Your minimum viable product. And that's what a lot of inventors miss, is they kind of forget, they get so locked into the idea instead of just getting on the market. So with a minimum viable product, to test the market, to get feedback, you don't want to overdevelop something and now you're paying way too much. And Amazon sellers do this all the time, even with differentiating products. I made a toiletry bag and it has really nice zippers because people were complaining in the bad reviews about the zippers. And it's premium quality leather. So it's great. It's going to be awesome. It's going to sell so well. But they forgot to actually look at the market and what people are buying. What people are buying in toiletry bags is not the premium leather. There's no one searching for the keyword toiletry bag with better zipper.
Premium leather. Like, yeah.
Exactly. So it's really important. Like, so many sellers spend so much time and money, whether it's an invention or an existing product, differentiating or in either a way that the customer doesn't care about and that they're not willing to pay more money for, or they spend so much in overdeveloping the product and then they come to me and they go, well, I hope I can sell it for $50. And I go, okay, but what's the average toiletry bag selling for? 15?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. And then there's like 20 other competitors on page one that are also selling between $15 and $20. So how are you going to capture that market? That's what you really need to think about. So for your fridge magnet, if we're, adding some electronic components into that, we might start by understanding what is the manufacturing process. So there's that show, How It's Made. We can look at how would we actually add electronics into this so that we could see into the fridge or whatever. But that being said, is there a version of that magnet that is more of an MVP that we could just test the market? Do people even want this magnet? Or are they just going to buy the fridge that already has it built in? Do people want the magnet plus the app? You know, so we want to do our market research first and validate the idea, and then focus on what is the minimum viable version we can bring to market at the market price and make it super easy for people to choose me. Like, I want my product to be, like right next to that other one at just a little less than the market price or a little higher than the market price. And I want people to go, yep, I want that one.
Yep.
And it's easy for them from a main image to choose it.
Wow. And I will say, we're talking about the whole, to go quickly back to the whole mom example. I told my mom this, my product, and she said that it was dumb. So, and she said that
Not
because
everybody's love.
she's like, I have an old notebook from your grade school time. Why would I use this magnet when I could just write everything down that I need before I go shopping? And I was like, okay, cool. So now I will not be pursuing my dreams of being an entrepreneur now. But it's a great point from you and also from my mother. Shout out to my mom. That why would I spend all this money on this cool little gizmo just maybe for the novelty of it? But you're not gonna get a lot of sales that way. So really interesting to kind of take a look at everything beforehand and really identify. I like that MVP term. I haven't heard that before. To see like what's out there, who's your competitors, and the more I talk about this, the more I think about that. I do it when we do these analyses and we do these audits of who are your competitors? Is there anybody in your actual price range in this market that you can realistically compete with that don't have like 15,000 reviews and has been on Amazon since 2000 and whatever 2015, something like that. Are there competitors that you can realistically compete with, or are there going to be people that aren't even going to look at your product considering your price point and your lack of sales data and all that kind of good stuff? So, okay, well then after that, after you get the established, okay, yes, this is going to be a good product. What are your next steps? What are the next steps for these people with either their new products or their new inventions?
Yeah. So the next step, once we validate, okay, there's a need in the market, and we kind of come up with our MVP plan, like, okay, there's an easy way to do this. Then what we're going to do is we are going to do what I like to call DIY prototyping. So a lot of people, they'll come up with an idea and they're immediately going to go to some fancy designer that they're going to pay thousands of dollars to further develop that idea. And now I'm not saying skip the designer. I think that's really important, especially designing for manufacturing, DFM. But before we do that, let's do some DIY prototyping. So now that we know, we're like, oh man, okay, we're going to do a magnet that is basically like a checklist. It's our MVP of this product, right? It's a checklist. We're not going to do the app yet. It's just basically a whiteboard checklist for common items that you shop in your fridge, right? And that's our MVP of this, to kind of test, like, what do people want on this magnet? It's cheap, it's easy to do, right? It's easy for us to print, and it kind of proves the need for the market. So let's say we're doing that. Okay, cool. Well, now it's our turn to DIY prototype it. So what do we want to know about this magnet? First of all, how big will it be?
Mm-hmm.
How big are most fridges?
Yeah.
How, a lot of fridges nowadays aren't even magnetic on the front. So does it need another attachment method? And so this is the process of just thinking through how it would work. And you wouldn't even necessarily need a magnet for that. You could buy one, of course, but you could just start with a piece of paper and cut it out and go, okay, this is where it would go on the fridge, ideally. And then, okay, what would go on it? Like, what would the checklist look like? Okay, and you just start thinking through that. So I was developing, I'm a CrossFitter. I love Olympic weightlifting. I'm a gym rat. So I was developing a bag for the gym. Because if you notice, you go to the gym, all my fellow gym rats out there, you bring a duffel bag to the gym, which most people do. The lockers are vertical. They're not horizontal. Every duffel bag is vertical. So here you are in your locker, stuffing your duffel bag in there. And you're like, okay, that's annoying, right? And then most of us want like a detachable part that we can actually take out onto the gym floor with
On
us.
the floor, yeah.
And so instead, we end up carrying the whole duffel bag because there isn't anything. So I was going to develop a bag. I never did move forward with this because I have too many projects under my hat. So feel free to steal it, guys. Every time I've ever done a product idea on a podcast that somebody has stolen, they've done wonders with it.
Wow.
So,
There you go.
so feel free to steal this idea. But I was going to develop this, right? And I don't know how to sew. I don't I can maybe sew a pillowcase from home ec, back in the
I
day.
was about to say I did that
I,
too.
but I don't know how to sew, right? So what did I do? I literally just took paper, like cardboard and tape, and I laid it on the floor and I said, okay, wait, how big would this be? And I grabbed my shoes and the things that I wanted to fit in the bag.
Mhm.
And then I was like, okay, this is the pocket where the shoes would go, I think would be here. And this is how big it needs to be, I think, right? I just literally line up the paper, tape it. Now I have something I can measure. I know if it will even work. And then my idea for my shoe pocket didn't even work. Like it wasn't the same as I had imagined it when I was kind of sketching it out. When I tried it in on the floor, like and laid it out with the cardboard, it didn't work. Now, what I've seen a lot of sellers do is they'll go to these designers and they'll pay thousands of dollars to have it kind of mocked up, and it looks really pretty on the design. And they'll spend all this money. They'll go to a supplier. They'll go, yep, here's my drawings. This is great. You never actually tried it. And so you launch this product, you spend all this money on molds, everything else, finding your supplier, all this time and energy. And then you literally, it doesn't work. Or you go straight to the supplier, have them make the sample, you get the sample, and the sample doesn't work.
Yeah.
And you could have skipped all that if you simply took the time to do a DIY prototype. And if you're doing something with electronics, I don't care. Go, like if I'm adding lights to a water bottle, go buy literally some LED lights and stick them on with tape. I don't care, because then okay, where will the lights go? How high up do they need to be on the water bottle? How will they wash that? You can think through everything. Then you
Wow.
take that to a designer and you're in such a better position, because you know how big something has to be, how long it has to be, where it should be located. And you are not taking more control over the design process, where that designer doesn't have your idea. They don't have the context. They're just like, okay, I'll put something together for you.
Yeah, and we'll send you a bill. Yeah. Wow, really
Exactly.
interesting.
Very expensive, Bill.
Really interesting. It's something that I hadn't considered in this process of just I mean, I've never invented a product yet. Um, but it's just something that you never think of. It's like, should everyone wants to have the best kind of testing method, I guess, and they want to have a real world example. But I guess they don't think to just use something simple. Like I said, cardboard and tape. It's all it takes. I mean, you're getting the same dimensions, you're getting the same concept. Very, very interesting. Very interesting to think about. And I'm sure that has resonated with you. I'm sure that story has occurred many a times where you get people back that say, "Hey, I just designed this brand new product," or "I just spent $3,000 on this sample. Like, check this out." And then God forbid they don't work. So, it's a shame. It's a very, like you said, very easy solution to a very potentially expensive problem. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. And I'm just kind of sticking with this theme. Um, now that is the next step just to sell on Amazon? Now that you have a working sample, something you've tested, something you verified, there's a need for in the market, or there's space for you to enter into like kind of like the different categories or the different spaces. What is it, just to get on and start selling, or is there? And then there's more testing obviously involved, and to maybe check the reviews. But I'll let you maybe explain that.
So this is perhaps the making or breaking point of a business. And this is the sourcing part
Mm.
of the business. And so we're forgetting that before we get to sample, we need to actually find a manufacturer for our product. And one of the biggest pain points that sellers have, I host these China trips. I have a trade show in Latin America. I have a trade show in the Middle East. I take people around the world and teach them how to source. And sourcing is something that will make or break your business. You're probably paying way too much. So many, you were talking about it earlier, Pete. You're like, people come to us sometimes and they don't have the margin.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they don't have the margin because they're paying their supplier too much for their product, or they overdevelop the product, or they just have no idea how to source.
Oh, dang.
So this is key. Like, this is a skill that is going to make or break your business, and it's worth investing in learning because it's a game changer. If you can go to the country yourself, like you can go to China, for example, it will change everything for you. I paid over $50,000 for my molds to make my product, plastic injection molds. I went through an intermediary in the US. Then I took my first trip to China. The molds were made in China. I didn't know anything about China. China was far away, right? I was still working for the Air Force. Like, I had no idea, right? So I paid a lot of money for my molds. I had to get investors for my business to start off because that was a lot of money to get started with, right? And then I went to China and I learned that I could have gotten those same molds myself, sourced them myself for $13,000. Right there, I could have saved $40,000 in my business just by going and learning the process. The second thing is that most sellers have no idea how to source. They don't know how to vet factories versus trading companies. They don't even know who they're talking to. They're getting on Alibaba and talking to some third party. They're not doing factory audits. They're not doing contracts with their suppliers. They don't have an attorney in the country that they're sourcing from. Mistake, 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 mistake.
Yeah.
Bye-bye your business. Okay. That's very, very serious. Like,
Yeah.
bottom line is, number one, you don't want to give up your idea. So you don't just go to a supplier on Alibaba and like, oh yeah, I want you to make this. What you do is you source what's called a decoy. And, my advanced sourcing, I have actually a 60-hour graduate level course called Concept to Launch. It walks you through every single step and teaches you advanced sourcing techniques. And, people will come to me and they'll be like, yeah, but I already took this other Amazon course. And I'm like, okay, but this is not an Amazon course. Like, this is what you need to know, right? So the bottom line is you can source a decoy. So let's say I'm sourcing my fridge magnet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's got some electronics in it. It's a little different, right? Well, I'm going to find a manufacturer that makes a product like that makes a magnet with electronics in it already.
Okay.
Or an electronic product that also happens to be magnetic. Cool. So that's a great start. And I'm going to source that product with the manufacturer. I'm going to talk about that product. I'm going to say, okay, well, what colors can I do this in? How can I change this? What material is this made out of? And I'm going to check their pricing on that product. And I'm going to understand the components of that product and the pricing of that product, because then I know their capabilities, whether they'll be a good partner for me, whether they can actually make my product because I just learned from them, and most importantly, whether they're competitive on pricing.
Yeah.
Because if they're selling a magnetic electronic product and I, with my Amazon brain, I look at that product and I go, okay, I can sell that for $30. That means I need to source it from them for about $3 because after shipping and everything else, like that, that's going to leave me enough margin. Okay, can I get it from them for $3? Can I work with them? Are they flexible on pricing? I'm going to do all of that for this decoy product. And then if they are a good fit and they show me all of that, and I, make sure with my attorney that I check their business license, I check their financial history, I make sure they're able to be held to a contract, then I move forward with an NNN agreement. So I talk to them and I say, and this is in China, an NNN agreement is in China, but I talk to them and I say, okay, this is great. I have this decoy, or not decoy product. This product is great. This pricing is great. I want to change a few things. That's what I tell them. I want to change a few things. I'm going to send you over a contract, an NNN agreement, so that, because these are proprietary to my company, and then we'll move forward. And so you have them sign the contract first. The pricing. They've already shown you their cards. The pricing of your components.
Yeah.
So you have the upper hand. And you have them sign the contract, and you have a Chinese attorney check the signature. I've been in a lawsuit with one of my suppliers in China. So it's very important that you're not using template contracts and just no signature in China that I've ever done on my own has been valid. My Chinese attorney has checked every single one and they've all been wrong.
Oh gosh.
So yeah. So you don't just want to willy-nilly just like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm gonna send you an NDA. It's not legal in China. Like nobody cares. So your supplier will sign that all day long. So you check their contract, you have your attorney check the contract, and then you send them your designs. Then you get your sample. And then you talk about pricing of the sample because you already have in your hand the pricing on a very similar product. What most of you are doing is you're going to Alibaba, you're giving your design right then and there, you're asking for RFQs and minimum order quantities, which is a huge mistake. And then the supplier is going to tell you, I don't know how much this is going to cost. Like, I got to figure it out. And then by the time they get through to the end of it, it's like way too much money. And you go, oh, this product won't work at all. If you do it my way, you're going to have great pricing. Your supplier's going to understand what's going on. You're going to have contracts in place. You're not going to get knocked off. And you're going to be able to move forward and be successful in your business ventures instead of continuing in the sourcing loop forever, headaches, or, all the other issues that you could have. So that's the next step is sourcing. And it's not to be taken lightly. You don't skip inspections. You do a factory audit, all those kind of things, because this is your foundation.
Yeah.
Your foundational areas of your business that you need to have in place. So that's the next step.
I feel like I definitely would not have guessed that. I feel like I skipped right over that. It just into my Amazon brain's going, can we sell on Amazon yet? But yeah, no, it's definitely, I mean, if you don't get it right at the beginning, you're not going to get it right in the middle or at the end. So it's definitely, I hear you with this importance of this weight of getting the sourcing right and making sure that you're not getting, like you said, ripped off by any of these sourcers or any of these manufacturers. So very, very interesting tidbit. Again, something I wouldn't have considered, something I didn't even know that NDAs weren't, I guess, universal, so to speak, or you need certain special agreements for some of these manufacturers. I'm sure it's probably different or maybe the same for if you do it in like a different country. I don't know if it's NNN specific to China. Okay.
Yeah. And then I would say also that we skipped one more step before we source. We want to check to see if our product or idea, and this is whether you're an inventor or whether you're just differentiating a product for Amazon, you want to check whether or not it's protectable. IP is the winner, right? So intellectual property. So after we do that DIY prototype, after we get our kind of idea like further developed and we're ready to source in between there, now that we kind of have our final design and we're ready to source, we want to talk with a patent attorney or a patent agent. Patent agents are great because they're trained the same way attorneys are. They just haven't taken the bar, so they can't litigate. But you don't care about litigation in the beginning. You care that you have a patent that's written well. And so the difference between a patent attorney and a patent agent is thousands of dollars. So
a lot different bill. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I would sit down with a patent agent and I would talk about the idea and I would see, like, is this because it might tweak your design. You might sit down with a patent agent and they go, well, actually you're infringing on this patent over here with this design, but if you tweak the shape a little bit and it still has the same functionality, now you have a utility patentable product. And, it's a much stronger invention and we can make these claims and this claims and this claims. And now suddenly the valuation of your business and your idea has gone way up. And so you have that conversation, you make your design tweaks from there. And then you move into you file your intellectual property, then you move into sourcing.
Okay. So yeah, a good step in there. I know we had one of our episodes about something similar about trademark law. And we got a little bit into patent law as well in terms of the product, but I'm going to have to invite our attorney back on to talk more about that and just get really into the weeds there. And like you said, mentioned like maybe one little thing tweaks it and then all of a sudden it's viable and you can get this patent for it. I've seen a lot on LinkedIn about, especially from John Elder, about getting your patent for your product and really your, like you said, protecting your IP and making sure that you're not just going to get ripped off from anybody, not even just Maybe some of
Yeah.
these people on like in like some of these Chinese manufacturers, like God forbid your own manufacturer, says, "Oh, I can make this product and I don't have to deal with the costs of paying us ourselves, so I can sell it for cheaper than this guy on Amazon." But even just other people that are looking to do that, are looking for products that they think they can not so much rip off, but I guess copy, or maybe the term rip off is appropriate, but and just kind of steal their idea and start selling that themselves for a little bit more. So very interesting to see. And again, I know that one is important. So it's a good step in this process to, like I said, just protect yourself and protect your product, your new invention. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I have loved this discussion. I love the topic that we're on. Is there anything else after sourcing, after protecting your IP, after doing a little bit of a DIY test, after understanding that there's a need for your product in the market, that there's not just a piece of tape that can replace it? After all of that, what's our next step?
Okay, so now we've sourced our product. We probably need to get into our purchase order. And so a lot of things, that's something that a lot of people struggle with, is how much should I order?
Mhm.
Right. And so what I like to do is I like to look at the closest competitor, and I want to look at how, I'm hopefully confident about stealing some of their market share. I'm coming up with my launch plan. I'm getting some followers. I'm developing my brand name, everything, my company name, all this in this time frame, like while the products being developed, all of that. I'm getting all the background stuff, the business stuff done, right?
Mhm.
And I'm just really starting to plan my launch. So people ask, like, how much should I order? And so the thing is, I love to have a minimum of 3 months of inventory for your first launch. Um, and oftentimes, it goes very, very well. And the folks that I've worked with, it's gone very well. Like we look at the closest competitor, and then we order 3 months of inventory, and then we sell out. So right now I have a client, she just launched. We worked on her product for almost 2 years. And
Wow.
well, I mean, it's dependent on how fast you're ready to move to market, right? In her case, she was really taking her time and just kind of, so some people do it very, very fast. She was just being slower, right? But she launched, we kind of tried to estimate it, and she launched, and it took off. And now her supplier is like, kind of out of production capacity until the new year.
Oh
And
yeah.
and she's about to run out of stock. So we had to do some additional kind of negotiation with her supplier, and luckily her supplier is going to make a little bit for her and send it off.
Oh good.
But that's the next step, is really thinking about how much should I order and what's my launch plan. Another big mistake I see, especially new businesses make, is they don't have a go to market launch plan. So, I asked them, I'm like, okay, do you have, people that are following you that are going to buy the product and leave reviews? Like that you have contact with. Do you have an audience that you have contact with? And it's not just about like, I'm not just saying you need to pay for a whole bunch of reviews. It's not really like that. I'm not suggesting like old black hat techniques, right? I'm more suggesting like this is an audience that is captive, that when you launch the product, you can get their feedback. So you kind of do a soft launch in the beginning. You launch and you get those people that are willing to give you feedback, that have a vested interest in this product, that are excited about it. When I invented my product, I took the prototype to local markets in Texas. I live in San Antonio, Texas. I took the prototype to local markets. I paid for a little booth at the local markets, and I just asked people. I showed the prototype, and I said, do you have pets? How do you clean your litter box right now? And can I just show you something? And I showed it to them, and some people were like, I would never use that. It's not for me. And other people were like, can I have it now? Like, how do I get this? And so I was like, well, you can't have it now. It's coming out soon. I was like, but I would love to give you a discount during our launch and have you support our launch. Would you like to sign up for our mailing list? And so by the time I launched, I had 64 pre-orders of my product and a small mailing list of people that I could contact. So those people, when they bought the product, I reached out to them directly. And I said, hey, tell me about your experience. Is there anything that would prevent you from leaving a 5-star review? That's what I want to know, because these are the things I can fix. many times sellers, they order from a supplier and it goes straight to Amazon. So they think like, okay, yeah, I got a sample, I did an inspection, everything's good. And we have found, we've done hundreds of these launches with this feedback process. And we've found so many problems where like, like a paper product where it's like crushed in the bag and it looks horrible. Or there's a glass product. We had one guy that created like a glass guns with like, shot glasses, belt, like
Oh,
tool belt kind of thing. It was so cool, but a lot of the glass was broken. And unfortunately, we did all the testing, we did the inspections, but our test buyers, the glass was broken. And so we knew we had a problem from the start that we had to address. And a lot of sellers are just going in blind and they're just like, yeah, I'm going to discount the product. I'm going to get a bunch of sales. I'm going to do my crazy PPC. And yeah, I'm going to teach you how to do all that. And I'm going to talk to you about external traffic and TikTok as well. But before that, we got to make sure that we have an audience, even a small audience, even if you just have 3 or 4 people who are willing to give you that kind of feedback that you can talk to directly. That's great. And then get your 1 or 2 reviews posted as social proof. Then go in with your crazy discounts and your other external traffic and your crazy PPC campaigns, your creator content. Do all those things. Do all your normal launch techniques, but don't skip that.
yeah. I hear you. Again, it's something that we like to, I put that in some of my audits about people that are just, this is how we're going to get you going brand new. Social media is also a great way, build that up before you launch. Like, hey, check out this cool use of our product, use your demos and all that kind of good stuff, or tell the story of your brand. There's a lot of ways, like you said, to build that following before you get started so you can launch, I don't want to say successfully, but I guess successfully. You can hit the ground running with your
Yeah.
new products. Very cool. Now, this is awesome. So I do want to talk to you about TikTok Shop, and I do want to get into that as well because I know you mentioned that in the beginning, and I know this is like a big thing. Some of our teams attended a webinar yesterday, and the one company like Goli, I want to say like the supplement people, they were saying they listed one of their products in like August of this year. I want to say it was like the beginning of August, and since then they've sold 3 million of worth of product. So
Once you buy your first product on TikTok Shop, you get hooked. It's really crazy. So TikTok was very, very smart about this. First of all, TikTok launched in China many years ago, their version of it in China. And they've been doing this kind of social commerce for years. And they've reached trillions in revenue in China.
yeah,
Like by 2018, I think it was, and so it's fairly new in the US, but it's growing so quickly. And it is because it's just very much, buying is a psychological process. Either when we want to buy something, we either hear about it from our friends. Like if we hear about it from a friend, if we go out and we're at dinner or something and somebody's like, oh man, I've been using this thing, it's like making me feel so good or whatever, I love it. I'm on Amazon or I'm on TikTok or whatever, or their website. I'm buying it right now. I'm going to buy it right now. I don't want to forget, right?
that's good.
So that's the magic of TikTok. And so what happens now is TikTok, first we're all scrolling on TikTok and we lose our minds there. Like you lose 2 hours of your time. And before you know it, you're just like, okay, that's time in my life I'm never going to get back. And how did 2 hours go by?
They call it what they call doom scrolling is a term I've heard from some of my friends. I actually don't have TikTok anymore. I hate to. That's like my little humble brag of the day. Is that I
Yeah.
got off it, but now I think I have to get back on it if we're gonna start doing that maybe here. So I'll
You
start
got to do it,
learning how
Pete.
to
You
do
got to do
it.
it, but
Yeah,
everything in
yep,
moderation, right?
yep. No
Give
doom
yourself a
scrolling.
TikTok
No
budget.
doom. I'll put myself on like I'll make like a business account for myself, and I won't follow anybody. Because
So
I was on it for a while. But yeah,
yeah, so what TikTok has done with TikTok Shop. So at first we all kind of got used to scrolling and like just like getting lost in the TikTok wheel, right? And the average user session on TikTok is 96 minutes. The average user, even though Amazon has doubled users of TikTok right now, more than double, there's more potential on TikTok because the average session on Amazon is 10 minutes 3 times a week. The average user on TikTok spends 96 minutes a day. And it's a very captive attention, very captive audience. And so what happens with TikTok Shop is now you can simply inside of that video, you can just click the product that they're talking about that's tagged in the video. It's right at the bottom of the video. And you can add to cart. It's like half the screen pops up and you can add to cart and check out right there. You never even get off the video.
Wow.
So unlike Facebook ads, right, where I'm leaving Facebook and I'm going to a website, and most of the time by then I've already lost interest. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to make this buying decision. TikTok, literally, you scroll up a little bit, you click add to cart, you check out, and you're done. Like, it sends an email to the email that's associated with your TikTok account. And then you're like, oh, what else can I buy? And the crazy thing is why companies like Guru Nanda and Goli have been able to just crush it is because of TikTok incentives. So TikTok gives these incentives. So when I first launched my products on TikTok, they were doing this holiday promotion where they were discounting. If you had up to $100 products, so up to products for up to $100, and you discounted them up to 30% off, you got a full refund of that discount.
Oh, wow.
Amazon will never do that. And TikTok only charges 6%. They have a 6% fee and no monthly fee to sell there. You don't have to have a registered brand. You can choose no brand. You can list the products. It's stupid. It's stupid not to be on TikTok Shop. Like, it's just stupid. And then built into the system is their creator, their affiliate center. So inside of your seller center on TikTok, you can literally click on affiliates and you can set up commissions for your products. And you can reach out to creators right from there. And they can request a sample of your product and it shows up as an order in your dashboard and you ship it out to them. Super easy, right? You can even fulfill through Amazon. So what are you people waiting for? Oh my gosh, get on it. So you ask the creator like, hey, do you want to, this is my product, whatever, do you want to work with us? And then they can request a sample. And if you have a great product, often creators will, if they already own it, they'll add it to their own shop. Because creators can add your products to their shop and then they just get commission for everyone that they sell. So I have creators creating videos of my product that I haven't even sent a sample to. They're just users of it.
They're just using it, yeah.
Yeah, and then because I have open commissions set up, they have open and target collaboration commissions set up. So you can do open commissions, which is every creator who wants to add your product to shop, they can add it and they can get commissions if they sell some.
Mm-hmm.
So I have only a 10% commission set up. And all these creators, it's a more expensive product, right? So it's a higher commission. If you have a lower product, you should do minimum 20 to 25% commission. But how much are you paying on PPC on Amazon?
Or on Amazon a lot, yeah.
Yeah. And how much are you paying in fees on Amazon? You're paying like 40% now in fees on Amazon. And you're paying probably minimum 20 to 30% in PPC. So that's 70% of your margin gone. On TikTok, you're paying 6%. And you're paying whatever commission to a creator. And then you can even up that commission if you want them to create more videos. So it is the time to get on TikTok is now because it's getting super saturated and creators are also, as a creator, the time to get on is now because you can get on there and you can start repping all these products and, you can make a ton of commission. When I go into, I use like Fastmoss and Kalo data, which are like the helium-10 of TikTok versus Amazon, right? And you can go in there and you can see for any shop how much revenue they're doing, how much is driven by creators, what creators are driving that revenue, what content they created that's driving that revenue. And sometimes it's really simple. It's like a picture with like text over the top. It's not hard. And products are just selling because people are like, they're engaged and it's so easy to buy. And now, before I buy on Amazon now, I go to TikTok and check because I know there's all these incentives. So I know I could probably get that product cheaper on TikTok. So we're starting to see And this is my good buddy and partner in my Evo Latam trade show in Mexico is Tim Jordan.
Yeah.
And he told me one day, and this was like a year ago. So, shout out to Tim. We still love you. But he was like, Amy, people will never use TikTok like a search engine like they do on Amazon. And we tested that. So we actually listed a bunch of popular products that we didn't have inventory for on TikTok that have zero content posted. People were buying them. Or we would just buy them at the retail price because we are just testing it, right? And just ship them to them. So like essentially we drop ship those products that I wouldn't recommend that. You don't make any money there, but it's great for testing. So we learned people were using TikTok as a search engine. And that's what's happening now. So often you'll see when you look up different shops, you'll see that they have a bunch of shopping mall purchases, which aren't even related to content at all. And so that shopping mall is just like, if you search on TikTok, you can see shop results, you can see video results, you can see user results. And so you're seeing more and more and more of that. And it is an incredible opportunity. It's an incredible shift, and Amazon recognizes it, and I think it's really going to change the way, especially as AI evolves and we have so much content that's auto kind of generated. We're going to want to see people's faces, like real people's faces, and we're going to want to connect. And so social commerce is really going to become important. And not to mention Google Labs now, with their AI integrated into search, is now showing videos in the search results because AI can read those videos. It can read the images. It can read those videos. So if I'm a brand and I'm looking to evolve in this new world, I know that 60% of Amazon's traffic comes from Google. So if everybody's on this new AI version of Google search, and I'm a brand that doesn't have any content other than just pictures and stuff on Amazon, I'm really only on Amazon, I'm just going to start tanking. And that's what's going to happen. And all these brands, like, they don't even know what's going on. I have so many brands that come to me that, like, especially supplement companies, they're like, I don't know what's going on. Like, we lost a lot of our sales. How's this other competitor doing so well? It's like, they're on TikTok, you're not.
Yeah. They got videos. Wow. This is crazy. And I'm curious, my other question before I just go off on a tangent about how this is so insane and how at this time, like a year ago, we thought TikTok was going to get banned in the US. And some people thought, actually, I saw some conspiracy theories or just theories in general that Amazon was going to be the US company to actually buy them. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do some sort of, because you're right, Amazon is aware of this. They're doing all these different things like the discount section and all these different things to kind of compete with these people like TikTok and like Shein and like Temu, because they do see that there's maybe losing some market share from it, or maybe losing some potential sellers, even not even just buyers, but potential people to sell on their platform, because they're saying, why would I sell on Amazon when they're going to, like you said, they're going to take 70% of my margin, so even like 60 or 50, even like 40, when I could only lose 6, or I could only lose even like 10 or 15 on TikTok. But yeah, kind of speaking on that, I do want to, like, how does the logistics work? Do they have something like FBA where they house your products, or do you do all the shipping yourself as a seller on TikTok?
So they have FBT, fulfilled by
Wow,
TikTok.
they
So
do.
the funny thing about, I've been a TikTok partner for over a year, like almost right after TikTok Shop started, when it was still kind of like in beta and it wasn't being shown to everyone. I ran into someone when I was speaking at a conference that was part of the TikTok team, and so I was onboarded way back then. And it's TikTok is actually being built by Amazonians. So, like, a lot of the key people at TikTok are former Amazonians.
Oh, wow.
So there's some overlap there, right? And you'll see a lot of overlap when you go like into TikTok Seller Center, and TikTok has its own seller university, just like Amazon does. So there's like a lot of parallels, but the platform on TikTok is different. So yes, you have FBT, you have fulfilled by TikTok. You do need time to qualify for that. So
Okay.
you need to be making some sales, right? And get going, because I'm sure they onboard a lot of sellers that just don't really do anything. You see a lot of shops that are on there and they just never list their products or they never get anywhere. And I'm guessing it's because they don't understand the strategy. They don't understand content. They've got their Amazon brain on. Like most people who come to me for TikTok shop services, they got that Amazon brain on. And they're like, okay, so if we launch on TikTok, we need these keywords and we need these ads. And it's like, okay, no. Just forget your Amazon brain for a second. This is a new platform. It's products sell in a different way. They rank in a different way. The algorithm works in a different way. Like traffic works in a different way. So just forget everything you know about, not everything you know about Amazon, but a lot of stuff you know about Amazon, and think of TikTok as fresh and new and really study how products are purchased. It's the same way that, I try to encourage people who are planning to sell on Amazon. A lot of people just get right into the data, they get right into the software, and they forget to just look on the page. Literally pull up Amazon.com and look on the page and see, how does your product look there, or how will your product look when you launch it? Can you steal traffic from these other competitors? A lot of people just look at the data, but they're not looking on the page. And that is a huge mistake because your customers are looking on the page. So you got to kind of know how the platform works. Try it out. Get on TikTok before you launch. Go on TikTok on the app on your phone and search for products like yours. Look at the videos that are being created for products like yours. See how many. TikTok's own app shows how many of those products have sold right on your phone. So you can see, like, you don't even need software for that. So start there. Yeah. And then, so you do need some qualifications to get fulfilled by TikTok. But in the meantime, you can use what's called seller shipping. And there's plugins where you can automate it where it gets fulfilled by Amazon, which is fine. And there's also, like, you can use a warehouse, like a third-party fulfillment center. There's all that kind of stuff. It's very easy to do. So you just kind of set up your fulfillment settings from the beginning, and then eventually you can switch over to fulfilled by TikTok as well.
Wow. Yeah, this is really, I said this on the last one too that we recorded. I love when I learn something. I love when the goal of this is really, and my secret little goal, my personal goal is always to learn something from these episodes. And I love getting new information. This is all, I knew TikTok was getting big. I knew it was being, a lot of people were jumping on. This is crazy, crazy numbers to hear. And just crazy little tidbits of almost how easy it is to get started on here. Especially if you just have, like I said, if you already have existing videos that you can post on your own account, and then people pick them up. I can already think of so many partners that we currently have that I know there's plenty of influencers. There's influencers in every category, obviously, but there's more than others. And I know a lot of our partners exist in these categories where these influencers are maybe even more in higher number that could make these videos, like I said, add them to their shop. It's just crazy, all this other stuff that you can do. I didn't know
Yeah.
that they could add it to their own shop, and I guess then again they get that commission. Very, very, very interesting to learn more about this. And I'm sure some people like Tim and sort of a little bit myself are out there that are saying TikTok will never surpass Amazon. And maybe it won't, maybe it won't be an extra, or maybe it won't compete with like Amazon and Walmart for the number one e-commerce spot, but it still sounds like you're leaving a lot of money on the table by not being on TikTok. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting.
Yeah. And I do believe that they will. I believe by the end of next year, TikTok will come close to Amazon's volume in sales. Because when we look at the brands that are succeeding on TikTok who are also on Amazon, their TikTok sales, huge. And they're driving more Amazon sales as well, but huge. So I do believe that TikTok will catch Amazon, or there will be something that happens there where there's they just announced the ads partnership where you can now run ads inside of TikTok to your Amazon products. And that's, people come to me all the time for TikTok, and they're like, well, can you just help me run ads to my Amazon? And I go, why would you want to do that? Like, literally, you're paying so much more to sell on Amazon. You could be directly on TikTok and making sales, and then automatically, it's like organic, evergreen, external traffic that's naturally going to happen on Amazon. You're naturally going to see a spike. So why would you spend more to keep selling on Amazon, to keep selling your products on Amazon? Spend money on ads from TikTok instead of just setting up TikTok Shop. When Amazon's taking 40% of those margins, plus you're paying for the ads, where you could be on TikTok Shop directly and then get more content made, flood the system with videos. Like, it's just, it's insane. To me, it's insane when somebody comes to me and they're like, can you help me run traffic to Amazon from TikTok? I'm like, why wouldn't you just let that happen naturally
Yeah,
and make a lot more money?
make more margin.
Like, and
Yeah.
build your brand at the same time. It's just,
You get some
yeah.
influencers making videos about your product. It's interesting. I wonder if the next step, and speaking of next steps, I want to hear your thoughts on the next steps for TikTok. But I wonder next steps for Amazon would be something along the lines of, I don't even know if they would be willing to do this, but it's maybe like reducing their fees, God forbid. They knock down some of these and make it easier for sellers to not jump ship and stay on Amazon as opposed to saying, kind of like what you're saying, and just go to TikTok where they're not taking that margin from you. So it's very interesting to think about that. It's like I'm sure you've heard of the French fry potato example in business, where if the price of potatoes goes up, the price of French fries goes up, but if the price of potatoes comes back down, the price of French fries kind of stays the same. So
You have to think about also all the promotional refunds that TikTok is giving. They give shipping refunds if you offer like free shipping to your customers. They give shipping refunds not only to you but to the customers. They give coupons to customers to use on new products in shops. So
wow,
sometimes you'll see the person paid less for your product than you charge for it, but you don't get charged for it. It's TikTok's own promotion to the customer. And then TikTok gives sellers so many promotion opportunities. There's all these promotion opportunities. They've gamified the system and they're giving you refunds when you discount your products. So there's no way Amazon can compete with that. There isn't. Like from a seller perspective, it's like 30% off. You're gonna refund me, TikTok? Of
sure,
course I'll offer 30% off.
yeah,
Heck yeah, like no brainer. So yeah, it's really interesting. Amazon is going to have to do something when sellers wake up and start realizing,
smell the
like,
coffee, yeah, a little. Oh,
yeah,
smell the TikTok coffee. Very
yeah,
interesting.
yep,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
speaking of that, I want to hear your thoughts on sort of like what's next. Like, where is TikTok headed? I know, obviously, with quarter four approaching, I'm sure they're gearing up to do a lot more of those seller incentives and a lot more of these just promotions for them. But what about like next year? Like, what is TikTok? If you can share anything with us, what is TikTok looking at to expand and make this a little bit more, even somehow more easier for sellers and shoppers alike?
Well, the hard thing, I'm a TikTok service provider, so we offer full service management of TikTok shops. So, we have several clients that were full-time managing their shops. And it's managing a shop on TikTok is totally different than managing a shop on Amazon because you have creator outreach and you're not just TikTok is flooded right now. The creators on TikTok are flooded with requests. So a lot of people are using bots to message these creators on the platform to get more samples made, all that kind of stuff. And so creators are getting thousands of messages a day sometimes, and they can't respond to them all. So then what's happening is it's forcing us out into the economy, right? There's all these TAPs, which are TikTok affiliate partners that run like these creator groups, and they create their own campaigns with their creators inside of them. So what's happening is this whole huge creator economy, and it's completely separate from what's going on. It's part of TikTok, but it's also completely separate because it's now become so big that there's no way to just manage it inside of the TikTok platform itself. So you have all these creator economies, right? Like you have things like Billo and Join Brands where you can directly go and, order buy a video from a creator, right? Or a series of videos from a creator. And that's what we're having to do now. At first, when we first started on TikTok Shop, it was very easy. Like message creators, they request samples, they'll create videos, like super easy. Now it's a three-pronged approach. Not only does the brand themselves need to post content, TikTok is requiring this now, but also the creators, like it's very hard to just use them on platform. I have like a TikTok shop, like WhatsApp seller chat. And that's the theme right now is all the sellers are like, how do we get attention of affiliates? We can't get affiliates attention. And I'm like, because you're staying on platform and it's crazy right now. So you have to use kind of you have to think of it as a greater economy and look at these creators as like, okay, some of them I'm going to get on platform, some of them I'm going to have to pay directly. And then every brand should have a brand face that they hire that posts regular content because TikTok runs these contests. So they incentivize specific content. So they'll do like live stream contests and all sorts of different things. And they give you extra traffic for that. So you have to play the game. And so if you go to TikTok with like the Amazon brain, you're just going to like collapse and nothing's going to happen for you because you're like, I listed my products, I ran some ads, I don't know what's happening, right?
Yeah. Like why is it not moving?
Yeah. And that's what most people are saying. Like, I don't know. I set up my shop, nothing's happening. Because you've got to play the game. And it's a full-time job to play the game, right? So anyway, but the game is worth it, right? It moves your stuff very, very fast if you're able to play a game. So what's next? Who knows? Like, I think what's going to happen is I think there's going to have to be some kind of even more collaboration between Amazon and TikTok and Meta and like, because social commerce is just taking off and TikTok is leading Instagram is not selling what TikTok is selling with their tag product videos and stuff. Like, it's not even close. So these other platforms are either going to have to like somehow integrate with TikTok, somehow have to kind of play nicer, right? And then sellers that are on the platform are really going to have to pay attention to overall the whole economy and not just like, hey, I started my store, now what I do, right? And so like a bigger picture. And your brand is going to have to, as a brand owner, you're really going to have to start thinking about all of your content and your brand presence and where is the face of your brand? Who is the face of your brand? And you can hire somebody to be the face of your brand, but you're going to need a face because everything that's going on in this economy, it's going to be about human connection. And that's why TikTok is leading the way because you have these creators that have a human connection and people are spending so much time on this platform. So I think it's going to completely change the way that e-commerce works. And if you're not on board, you're just going to get lost in the mix. And if you don't have a brand face and you're not thinking about content because you always just made your money by launching on Amazon and running some PPC, well, guess what? Those types of products, now Amazon is launching their own version of Temu. So good luck. You're going to be competing with factory direct pricing.
Yeah.
So how are you going to sell? You got to have a brand face. You have to have a face to your brand. You have to have a connection with that customer. And that comes through social commerce. So everything is changing. Pay attention.
Yeah. Keep your eyes open. It's interesting. I think we'll see a rise in jobs of, like you said, just, hey, I am a brand ambassador. Yep. I speak about the brand and I make these content videos. It's very interesting. I feel like I see those a little bit. I still am on some social media. I will not say I'm one of those people that was able to get rid of all of it. I do love my Twitter. It's where I get like some of my news. I hate to say it. Well, Amy, I want to thank you so much for coming on today to talk to me about these really awesome topics. I learned a lot. So really appreciate you for that. I want to give you a chance. Any final thoughts on either getting a new product launched on Amazon or on TikTok Shop or both?
No, I think just stay educated out there and, again, utilize the universities that are there. We have a free 2-hour masterclass on TikTok on our website. So you can go to amazingathome.com/TikTok. And there's a free 2-hour masterclass. And we're just showing you the different products that are doing well on TikTok and kind of how to think about TikTok. And so that's just kind of our gift to everybody out there to kind of just get out there and learn about the platform and not go into it with the Amazon brain. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen on both sides. And we're always here to help and to continue. We hope to just continue helping entrepreneurs build innovative products, which are going to be even more important in this new economy, and also launch them with new methods that are going to make sense for our future economy.
Love it. Yeah, and you heard it, folks. If you need that link to the website, it'll be down in the YouTube description, along with Amy's LinkedIn. So make sure you follow her for any fun updates about anything related to launching a new product or TikTok shop or anything else. And if you were like me and you learned a lot today, make sure you like and subscribe to keep learning with me, as I have a lot more awesome guests like Amy on. We can talk more about any other variety of e-commerce topics. So, Amy, once again, thank you so much for jumping on with me to talk about these different things, and really for again educating me a little bit on how important it is to be on TikTok, and how much goes into involved in how much is involved in launching a new product. So really, thank you so much.
Thank you, Pete.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm Velocity Pete, and we will see you next week.